Now to the emotional visit to this country by the Nobel Peace Prize recipient Aung San Suu Kyi. It's been a whirlwind week for her, in which she was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal on her first visit to the U.S. since she was freed after years under house arrest. NBC's Ann Curry sat down for a rare interview with her today. She's here with us in the studio tonight. Ann, welcome.
Thank you so much, Brian. And that's absolutely right. Aung San Suu Kyi endured 15 years of house arrest, fighting for democracy in Myanmar, also known as Burma, separated from her family, her husband dying before she was finally released. She is now a member of her country's parliament, and we began by asking her about her meeting this week with President Obama.
It was a privilege, and it was also very enjoyable. I like your president.
Did you ask him to lift economic sanctions on Burma?
I'd already discussed this with the members of Congress the previous day.
But you would like to see these economic sanctions lifted?
Yes, because I think that we must now learn to stand on our own feet and not depend on the sanctions to push us towards democracy.
You have called democracy, though flawed, a beacon of hope. You have become now a beacon of hope to so many.
Flawed as well.
Oh. But what is the most important message that you have to all the people around the world who are struggling, as you have, for freedom, for democracy?
It's the same struggle for everybody everywhere, because unless we are free, we cannot really realize our own potential.
One of the things that people admire about you is that you did not give up.
It never occurred to me that I should give up.
But there were moments, I'm certain, when you felt all hope might be lost.
No, never. I was not always thinking of hope. I was always thinking of what to do next.
I feel a need to ask how you survived emotionally.
If any sacrifices were made, they were made by my family. I just took the path that I chose. And it was a choice I made, not a sacrifice.
Because it was for something that mattered?
To me, yes.
Do you know why this belief was so important to you, to give up so much?
My mother always brought me up to understand that my father loved his country. And of course, I always knew that he didn't live to see his dream come true. He died just before we regained independence. And I suppose always I wanted to realize his dream for him.
And you have?
Not yet.
You will?
I hope so.
And on that moment, will you feel your father with you standing there?
I always feel him with me anyway.
Do you rule out the possibility of ever running for president of your country?
No, if you're a politician, you never rule out such a possibility.
She is such an impressive woman, fearless, quietly determined, as you can hear, very humble. Her whirlwind visit to this country, her first in 4 decades, continues for another 2 weeks, and then it's back home. Brian can continue fighting for democracy, as she has done for much of her life.
She's as elegant as she is historically important. Ann Curry's conversation with Aung San Suu Kyi, and thank you for your report.
Myanmar democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi has just kicked off a 17-day visit to the United States. I want to talk about her with Ernie Bauer. He's the senior advisor and director of the Southeast Asia program at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Ernie, thank you so much for joining us. It's hard not to feel inspired by seeing those images of this woman who managed to stand by in a nonviolent way, stand up to a military dictatorship, and finally was able to get her country on the path of democracy, which is part of what we're seeing with this visit to the United States, a country coming out of isolation. However, she faces incredible challenges still ahead, doesn't she?
She does, and you're right. I mean, she's an amazing person. The bitterness is just not there. For having been under arrest and under house arrest for almost 2 decades, she is talking about moving the country forward, but she faces great challenges. Well, there is real reform underway in Myanmar. She's sort of got to thread the needle working with the current president, Thein Sein, who will also arrive in the United States in just a couple of days.
And she's already faced criticism. She's realizing that it's one thing to be a dissident and then another thing to be a politician. There are people who've criticized her for the fact that she's decided to push for the lifting of import sanctions on her country, something which the military wants her to do.
Well, it's not only the military. I mean, you're right. She is a politician. She's representing the people of Myanmar. And what they want most is jobs. And they want a chance to build for their families and have an opportunity. So I think what she is saying when she talks about easing sanctions is, look, there's still a rough road ahead, but I need the economic momentum to promote the political reform. And I think the United States will probably take that signal and act on it.
However, there are many dissidents, especially exiled dissidents, who have supported her in the past, who are disappointed with us. And they say that the United States is losing the leverage that has helped it gently urge and push this process of democracy forward.
Yeah, I really disagree. I mean, I think the United States could turn sanctions back on tomorrow, and they would if there's backsliding in this government. So I think what you'll see is a concerted effort by the White House and the Congress when she receives her Medal of Honor tomorrow on the Hill to say, look, we want to support reform, political reform and economic reform in Myanmar, and we're going to ease these sanctions, but we could always put them back on if Myanmar slips the other way.
And Ernie, I wanted to ask you, this is such a rare achievement that a political dissident who was under house arrest for 15 years is able to reach to this point. This is so rare to see in the history of the world. What are the lessons? Well, what can we draw from this amazing achievement?
Well, it's inspirational. What it shows you is a committed leader can change the world. And she has done that, almost like Mandela, we have to say. She has personified the hope of a nation, the hope for democracy, and the hope for a better life. And now we're seeing that happen. I've spent the last 3 or 4 weeks in Myanmar, and it's really exciting. You can feel change, and people have a lot of hope. But there's real decisions and a real long commitment by Aung San Suu Kyi and the government to make those changes real.
Such profound changes do not happen overnight.
No,
absolutely.
They don't.
Ernie Bauer, Senior Advisor and Director of the Southeast Asia Program at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, thank you for talking with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.